Hello, you've been recruited to help us with the Information Commons Observation Project. The purpose of this project is to collect data on how the Information Commons is being used in order to improve it. Through the observations, we hope to learn what areas of the Info Commons students are using versus not using, what furniture and seating configurations they prefer, are they working alone or in groups, to what extent are they using library resources versus their own resources? And what activities are they engaging in while they're using our space? This project is taking place starting today, April 6th, and running through April 19th. Observations are being done daily during the following time periods using an iPad. There's a morning shift occurring between 9 a.m. and noon, an afternoon shift between 1 and 4 p.m., an evening shift between 5 to 8 p.m., and a late night shift happening anytime after 9 p.m. All of the information for the observation project is being recorded on this online form. For convenience's sake, to make this observation project easier, we've divided the Info Commons into 5 different zones. And I'll show you a quick peek at what those zones look like. They're color-coded on the map if you go to the online form. And basically each of your shifts, or when you're assigned a shift, it will generally consist of observing and recording information about one zone during one of these 4 time periods. You will be assigned this. However, if you are covering a morning shift or a late night shift, because it's a lot less busy, we will ask you to cover all 5 of the zones during your shift. So the procedure works like this. Step number 1 is to procure an iPad, because you will be using an iPad to get to the online form to record all of your observation information. So if you don't have an iPad, we keep one at the information desk for this project. It's available if you're on the front computer at the info desk. It's in the bottom right-hand drawer. So once you get that iPad, you're going to open up this URL to go to the site where the observation forms are. Bookmark this URL for future use. So I am going to go ahead and go to that URL right now. Once you're on this site, the first thing that you're going to do is for your assigned zone or zones, you're going to record the temperature and the noise level for those stations in your assigned zones. And if you look at the map, you can see for each of the zones, wherever you see this little symbol, that is the location of a temperature and noise station. That's where we want you to go stand and record the temperature as well as the noise decibel level for that area. So all of the zones have multiple temperature noise stations. What you'll do when you start your shift is you're going to look at the map to see where those are located. You're going to grab the instruments that you'll use to record the temperature and the noise, and those are kept behind the information desk. The standalone printer, it's going to be the bottom drawer underneath the standalone printer is where you'll find those instruments. And I'll just show you quickly what they look like. There's a thermometer, which you'll grab to record the exact degrees Fahrenheit temperature of all of your temperature and noise stations. And then there's also the humidity level, which is right here, which is given as a percentage number. So you'll record that, and then you'll use the noise meter to record the noise decibel level at your dedicated areas. So to use the noise meter, here is the on-off button. It's in the center. You just push that in and push that in again to turn it on and off. And then to get the maximum dBA, you're going to push in the side button one time. And then if you push it in again, it will give you the minimum dBA. You're going to want to record both of those things on the form. And then to turn off, when you're finished with the noise meter, we want you to turn it off again by pushing in this button. So let me just show you on the form where this where you're going to record this information. You will go to, let's say I'm doing the first zone, and I'm going to go to my first station right here where I'm supposed to record the temperature and the noise. I am going to go to my online form. I'm going to click on the general environment link. I'm going to say that today is Monday. My shift is a late night shift. I'm recording information for zone 1. And then I'm going to say the exact area of zone 1 where I'm recording. So let's say I'm in that doorway of the copy machine room. Then I'm just going to record what the temperature was on the thermometer, the humidity level, the noise decibel level. I'm going to record the maximum. Let's say it was 60, and the minimum, let's say it was 45. Then the other thing that we want you to do for that area is just kind of look around really quickly and see if there are any out of order signs in your area. If there are, we just want you to mark what was out of order. Like, was it a computer? Was it a printer? If nothing's out of order, you can just select none. And then the last thing is, if you notice any messiness or, spills or trash, we want you to record yes for that. And then you can describe what you saw. Once you fill that out, that's it. You're just going to submit the form by clicking on the next arrow. And you're just going to do that for all the remaining areas in your zone. So once you've recorded it for here, you're going to go to group study room 106. You're going to record the same information, and then you'll do it for the last area in your zone as well. Okay, so this is just recording all the general information at those temperature noise stations for your zone. Once you've done that, you're going to move on to part 2, which is going to have you record an observation form for every person that you see in your zone. Okay, so for this, you're going to click on the individual patron activity link, which is right here. You're going to, same drill, you're going to fill out the day, what time the shift was, what your zone is that you're recording. And now for all of your zones, for recording the patron activity, we've also divided it up into these sub areas to make it easier for you to keep track of what you've already recorded. This information can also be found in the Appendix A. If you look at the checklist for each zone, it will give you a list of all of these zone areas that you want, or observation areas that you want to be recording. So what I recommend is just working your way through this list, checking them off as you go along. If you print out the appendix for your zone, you can use that as a checklist, and you can just cross off the ones as you complete them. So let's say for zone 1, I'm going to choose my first area as the color printer. The first question it'll ask you is, are there unattended belongings in the space? And that would mean, like, if someone left their book bag and their laptop, but they're not actually in the space, then you would put yes for that. But most of the time you're going to say no. Most of the time you will be observing an actual person. The other thing I want to point out is if you go to the color printer, which is your first zone area, and there's nobody there, you don't need to fill out this form. You're only going to fill out this form if there's an actual person in this space, and if there's unattended belongings in this space. Otherwise, just skip over this, don't fill out a form, and cross off that you've already observed the color printer. Okay. So once you say no, if you click on the next button, it'll take you to record all the information about what that person is doing. So the first thing is you'll say what their gender is. Was it male? Was it female? What is the person doing at the printer? And because I selected printer, so it's going to ask you. Sometimes you'll get specific questions based on that specific area. This is one of those special questions. This question only pops up if it's the printer that you're actually observing. Then you're going to record the person's level of collaboration. Are they working with another person, or are they working alone? And if you do say that they're working alone, it'll ask you to estimate the percentage of available space that the person or the group is using. This is just an estimate, but if example, if they're using a computer pod and they have all their belongings spread out across the entire area, then I would put 100% for that because they're using up the entire space. If you say that they're working with one other person, it's going to ask you what the seating arrangement is for those two people. Are they beside each other? Are they across from each other, etc.? Then it's going to ask you for the person's technology use. Which of these devices are they using? And it could very well be more than one. So you want to check off all of the ones that you see them using. So they might be using a library computer as well as their own laptop, as well as a smartphone. Maybe they also have earplugs on, headphones on, etc. So check off everything that applies. If you do check off library computer, it will ask you what the purpose is of what they're doing on the library computer. And for this, you just want to guesstimate. Sometimes it's not that easy to tell, but for example, if they're obviously working on a Word document, then you would choose productivity software. Or if they're obviously doing their email, you can choose email. Or if they're playing a game, you can put recreational. So just use your best guess for this one. There is an option for other can't tell if you just can't tell. Then you're going to record all the activities that the person's doing. So are they eating or drinking? If they are, you say yes. Are they writing or studying with something not on a computer? Are they sitting on library furniture? And that would include like a chair. If they're working on a computer, if they're sitting on a library chair, you would check that off. They could be sleeping, they could be talking, they could be doing any of these things. So just to check off everything that you see. And then lastly, if you do have any additional observations, there's a place to record that here. So once you've filled this out, you just want to keep on filling out the same form for each person that you see in this particular area in your zone. So it might be a lot, it might be not that many, just depends on how busy the library is at that time. But when you submit your form, the easiest way to keep on submitting another form is it'll ask you, like when you submit the form, it'll say, please continue filling out one observation form per patron. To fill out a new patron observation form, click here. Just click there and that'll pull up a new form for you and you can just keep on filling it out until you've accounted for every single person that is in your zone and in all the areas within your zone. So that in a nutshell is what you're doing. And then the last thing is if you do see any really unusual behavior or things that you think are noteworthy, you can always take a picture of it and submit it in the pictures link. This is just to capture things that are hard to describe in this form. If you do take any pictures, we do want you to make sure that there's no identifiable people in your photos. So by that we mean no faces, no way that we could identify if there is a person in the picture, make sure you can't identify like who they are. Okay, that's the only restraint on that. And if you do want to submit a picture, you can do so through this form. You just click on browse and then you submit the file that has the picture. So that in a nutshell is the project. And you just keep on doing this for all of your assigned zones within your shift until you're finally finished. And when you are finished, we want you to, if you've been using the iPad that's at the information desk, we ask you to please put it back in the bottom right-hand drawer at the information desk for the next person who needs to use it. So that's the project. If you have any questions at all, you can email me, Susan, and ask me questions.